Oh, hey there. I wanted to do a follow-up on a video from Clever News. That's spelled Clevver. Uh, it gives you a quick snippet of what's going on the pop star world, actors and that sort of stuff. It doesn't really tell you that much though, but if you have a functional brain, you may be able to figure certain things out. I certainly wouldn't recommend anybody spend any extensive amount of time looking into this sort of stuff. I mean, like buying magazines and listening to all the songs and whatever other media platforms, Twitter, you name it. I wouldn't recommend anyone do that. It might just be wild goose chase, not worth your time. It's like things like this. It's better to get the abridged version for someone who does waste their time looking into that sort of stuff because there is some noteworthy information. Even though those tabloids and entertainment magazines. They look like a waste of time, and most of the time they are, but you may actually learn a little something if you read them often enough or knew someone who did read them often enough. Anyway, um, Clever News, they put up a video talking about Selena Gomez and how an obsessed fan showed up at her home with an assortment of bizarre gifts. One of them being a penis-shaped bouquet of flowers. Okay, let's get some things straight here. One, whoever this person was, it was most likely a man. Um, he isn't a nobody. Um, he must have some money, some connections, something. He's connected into the world. Um, because the thing is, someone like Selena Gomez could have any numerous amount of people coming up to her and doing all kinds of weird things, and all she has to do is be seen in a public place. Um, if people had it in their heads that they could actually get to know Selena Gomez, you'd be surprised that normal people would go out of their way and max out their credit cards or something ridiculous like that. I'm just saying that would definitely be something some people would do. Some people don't care one way or the other. They wouldn't even recognize her as her being a celebrity. To tell you the truth, if she wearing a hat or something like that, or sunglasses, I wouldn't recognize her. But that's just me. Anyway, me saying that this supposed stalker uh, isn't he's not a nobody. Um, the thing is, A, to know where a celebrity lives is one thing. To know when they're there is another thing, because quite often they're not at their primary residence. I'm sure it's different for different celebrities and things like that, obviously, but most of them are quite busy, even if they're not really in the public spotlight at the moment. Like, many actors and actresses, they spend, 10-year hiatuses and they don't make any films or anything like that or any new music, but they always have social connections. With the exception of Sinead O'Connor, that was just on Facebook, and how supposedly she lives in a motel and doesn't talk to anybody. Probably a reason for that. I don't know, and I'm not, I mean, especially very interested. I mean, I guess if she doesn't deserve it, then that's not very nice, but no way I could learn about it anyway, even if I wanted to, so, what do you want me to say? Anyway, Selena Gomez. This creeper showing up at our door bearing gifts. For one thing, Selena Gomez is worth absurd amount of money. It's definitely in the hundreds of millions, and there's no way any way us common folk would know how much she's worth. Um, because once you get into those type of figures, the lines get blurred and you don't get informed about anything. Like they said, Lady Gaga was worth something like 278 million. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? She certainly is able to afford extravagant concerts and go to very expensive things, and she obviously got money, but nobody really knows how much she's got. And when you've got that kind of money, it's not just your money. It's also the crowd that's around you, and you know, it's all categorized, sectioned, and there's the people in your immediate circle. There's the people that are a little bit further away, a little bit further away, a little bit further away, and then eventually gets the common folk, and basically where the pebble dropped in the pond and the ripple effects happen, we hardly notice it. We certainly don't benefit from it, unless you listen to her music, I suppose. Um, I don't know any of her songs other than Cruella de Vil. It's an okay song, I suppose. Um, anyway, when you're worth that kind of money, there's a few things. One, you're going to have bodyguards that are trained to shoot to kill. That is just a fact. Not any just random can show up at Selena Gomez's door. And when they have that kind of money and they feel that somebody who's an important public figure could potentially be in danger, they don't take chances. And I don't care if you didn't read this on the internet, you didn't see it in a magazine or whatever. It is just the truth. This guy, he could have been a number of things. He could have been. It's my suspicion that he was hired by whatever sycophants, people who have invested money in Selena Gomez or have business connections with her or whatever, just to kind of remind her that she does have crazy fans. Um, Odds are Selena Gomez never met this person before, had no way of knowing they existed, but this person knew enough about her to find her place of residence. And not just any random person can do that. The one thing Clever News did say was talking about celebrities and unwanted guests. Well, there are many interpretations to that. An unwanted guest for a celebrity, perhaps to the person itself. I'm not saying Selena Gomez in this example, but I'm saying a different celebrity would not have minded um, this unexpected visitor. I'm not using the Selena Gomez example. I'm using different example here, just a figurative one. But they'll label it as an undesired visitor because the inner circle um, of whatever public political celebrity figure may not want that person meeting those people. They may inhibit um, the center of the cult of personality from seeing people that the inner circle didn't want her to see or him to see. They make decisions for the center of cult of personality, whomever that may be. The days where, powerful figures were unquestioned and they can go do whatever they want, relatively speaking, are over. Um, when you're worth that kind of money, you do get told exactly what to do at a lot of the times. And with athletes in particular, their diet is totally monitored. Um, there's no getting away from it. Maybe you do get to eat, donuts and chocolate cake and things like that every now and then, but if all of a sudden you decided, I'm in a bad mood, all I want to do is eat ice cream, and it's hot out anyway, they may say, no, you can't have ice cream. You can't go to the store to buy ice cream. You're worth $50 million, but you can't go to the store to buy ice cream because we said no. Um, Go ahead and walk to the store. There'll be somebody there right in front of the ice cream telling you you can't buy it. Uh, for example. And like the thing is, someone especially like Selena Gomez, she's not a bad looking woman. I'm not particularly interested in her from that point of view, because she don't have blonde hair and blue eyes, so that's a big deal for a guy like me. I mean, it doesn't have to be that way, but Selena Gomez is, you know, she's not bad looking, but not really my cup of tea. Okay. Um, anyway, what I was saying is, she does have people that know just about everything about her, her daily activities, where she is at any given time, and she probably, in all likelihood, doesn't even like them. And those are the type of people who arrange it that a creeper will show up. Because you have to remember that in the music world and the celebrity world and all that, there's more than one main cult of personality running around. And it is literally impossible to control every single one of them, and all their subordinates, at any given time. Things change, and they withhold or lie about information that may get to whomever, I guess in this case, Selena Gomez. Um, Once you start climbing up the ladder, you have to understand that people lie. They may do it for whatever reason, but at the end of the day, they'll still be lying to you. And, actually, sometimes being lied to isn't that bad a thing. I'm not saying ignorance is bliss, but I'm saying, there's just stuff you don't even gotta know. Um, there's just not enough information to really get in depth with a video on what my opinion is of who this stalker of Selena Gomez is, and what the gifts mean, and how he got past security, how he knew where she lived and that she would be there. Um, because as a hypothetical, let's pretend that it was just a random occurrence that this person sought out to do what he was going to do, and he got as far as he did. Um, that would have, been quite the accomplishment, because if they had made several attempts at it, it's just not happening. Security guards aren't going to be asleep at the wheel every time. I mean, they bungled up in the past before, particularly when one of the Beatles got bumped off. But I'd like to think that security for important public figures has gotten better since then. And even if you don't like a particular public figure, you have to understand their reasoning for being there, and how they're not always all bad. there might be some things about them you don't like. I'm not talking about Selena Gomez in particular. I'm just saying like any center of the cult of personality as a person. Um, but usually they're there for a purpose, and you take the rough with the smooth, and the pros with the cons, and um, it's my personal belief that if somebody is able to climb the ladder and really make something of themselves, that they shouldn't really be bothered by creepers or anything like that. Um, Not necessarily to say that to the point where they're not the ones making the decisions about it, that they're in fact being lied to by the inner circle, or they've neglected to mention that. Because once you have people who start thinking for you, then odds are they're going to make decisions that you wouldn't have agreed with if you had any say in the matter. I mean, at this point, it's literally impossible to keep tabs of, everyone in your inner circle. It swells into paranoia, and you become like Stalin in World War II. You know, it's, it's all part of the package. And people who think, oh, they're worth 250, $300 million, they're getting a big contract, they got this, that, and the other. Therefore, I don't feel sorry for them or anything like that. Everything's just gravy for them. Not true. Uh, it comes with its own bullshit. Okay, sure. If you want to eat, you know, halibut for lunch, no problem, usually. I would think, anyway. You want to wear nice clothes? No problem. You don't want to, lift heavy boxes? No problem. But it comes with other problems. Like, well, some people offhand would say the occasional creeper coming in bearing gifts. But that creeper was apprehended before he got anywhere near Selena Gomez. I don't even know if they actually saw each other or not. I guess they probably did, but I don't know. But there are, uh, real creepers behind the scenes, and they're not just situated within the country. They're observing them from other places. I like to pick on Asia as being the pricks about it, but they are the likely suspects. Um, and they do all kinds of things, and it's getting real creepy. Like before, it used to just be they would draw cartoons of you, and there are a lot of cartoons that you don't even want to start imagining how horrible they can be. Anything. You don't even want to think about it, but there are some sick, twisted people out there who do think those sort of things. Um, I mean, I grew up watching Ren and Stimpy, but could you imagine that if it were 100 times worse? There's some sick, twisted monkeys out there who do think, 100 times worse. I mean, I was never into hentai, for obvious reasons. It's just a really creepy thing, but that's really the kind of direction. And you may go, well, it's a cartoon, that's not Selena Gomez or whatever. But if they start drawing it better, put a lot more effort into it, make it really look like her, call her by name, edit the video audio so that it sounds like her, um, then, that can be very creepy. And now, Star Wars is the first example where they've superimposed uh, General Tarkin's face on uh, on a new body, and it's almost like Peter Cushing's alive again. And, you could obviously tell that one, they got to do some tinkering before it's more convincing. But at this point in time, it's still pretty damn good. And, 30 years ago would have been, just like, it couldn't have, no one could have thought it could have got that good. I don't think anyway. Or maybe they did. Maybe there were some people who went, eventually it will be that good. I mean, Star Trek predicted a lot of things, like cell phones, iPads, to some sort of extent. Um, but yeah, for celebrities, it's not all a cup of tea, and there's just so many factors that people don't think about because they just they offhand they go, well, I don't really like them as a celebrity, don't like their music, don't like their acting style. Um, you get the garbage version of everything. You just look like an idiot if you get too wrapped up in this subject, particularly if you fixate on one celebrity. Um, yeah, because then you do look like a creeper. I mean, you just look like a douchebag creeper at that point because you'll never get near them anyway. I mean, that's actually a trait I would think would be more associated with women and homosexuals, to tell you the truth, because I don't know, from my experience as a heterosexual white male, um, whenever I think of, you know, well, exercising authority in whatever circumstance, whether it be on my YouTube channel or elsewhere, I'm all about consolidating my own power. I don't feel like leeching off of somebody else's. I mean, some people go, well, you're making a video talking about Selena Gomez, but I'm saying that to explain a bit more of what it's actually kind of like in that whole sphere. And this clever news little clip, 2 minutes. Um, there's not a lot of information and hardly any. But there's enough information to stimulate thought for me because I don't just close the door to perception. Of course, everything I say is not going to be 100% accurate all the time. I may be wrong about things, but I think that there's a high likelihood that a lot of what I'm saying is probably true. Because it seems to make sense. It seems to be very plausible, and until I hear definitive evidence that I've been debunked, I'm not going to be totally convinced that I'm wrong in my thought process. Um, because my main points are that kind of money. Um, it comes with a lot of responsibility, a lot of rules, and there's a lot more to it, and it's not as simple as you can move to a paradise and live completely comfortable for the rest of your life. Um, Depending on the circumstances of how you got it, that may not be the case at all. And getting back to the inner circle making decisions for you, they may prohibit you from doing certain things. Like for one thing, as soon as you're on that upper echelon of celebrity status, there are so many places you're not allowed to go. It's as simple as that. It's physical impossibility. Like I'm gonna use the Pyongyang Games in South Korea as an example. Sidney Crosby, if he wanted to go there, absolutely could not. He physically could not go there. Mostly because he'd have, women, dragging him down, probably. But There'd also be bodyguards, even if he got on a plane with a pilot willing to fly there, uh, something up there in the sky would stop him. He's just not going. It's as simple as that. And, that's taking into consideration that they hadn't tried to persuade him not to go, which, with all this unlimited information at their disposal, um, it wouldn't be that difficult. Especially when you look at the sycophants in Asia, like Japan, South Korea, uh, they're all into that hentai stuff, and it's like, no, that's creepazoid stuff. I have a theory of why they're big into that. Well, two reasons. One, they're perverted, and two, somehow it lessens the severity of the intensity of their situation, in particular with North Korea and all that. But I think it's just their nature to be into that kind of weird stuff. It's definitely not a Western culture sort of thing, at least from my understanding, anyway. This is very, very in-depth conversation I'm having with, I guess, nobody at the time being, but sometimes all it takes is a 2-minute video and it can stir up thoughts that I guess I had already sort of thought of, but now I can illustrate or not vocalize what I've got to say. And, you know, the thing is, to varying degrees, people like Selena Gomez have to deal with, creepy people on a daily basis. I remember probably about a year ago, Justin Bieber from a high rise, he spat a loogie on some fans, some women, and people were going, "Oh, what a jerk," and all this and that. And he's like, "You ain't got context, man." Like they were probably, whatever. I don't know, but they could have been, real pains themselves, because women are quite capable of doing that. In particular, when they won't go away. Um, and other things they can do that are really irritating. Um, and oh, damn, is this story is just so like, you know, I pity celebrities in this way that literally they're they've got people out there who are, you know, so gone in one direction in their head that they have all these complicated thoughts, and I would like to think that they were, good thoughts, but some people don't have good thoughts. Some people just they've gone off in a direction, and that's the way they think, and they think of things that other people don't, and it doesn't make them smarter. It just means they went in a different direction, and these people are fanatics when it comes to money. Um, or they're whatevers they are. Because the thing is, for every important person you see on the television, they probably have 20 advisors, and then the advisors of the advisors, and it goes further down the road after that. Um, and, a lot of really not good people in that scene. And, like poor guys like Corey Feldman, he says he won't name those people who were mean to him. And, it's, that is scary that we live in that kind of world where people can actually, that all that can happen. How did it get that way anyway? well, it gets that way when people are stupid enough to just believe people of authority when they tell them something, and when you question them, they get angry. Um, I think if you can't properly explain yourself without getting angry on why you've made some certain decision, then you're not very intelligent. You're just a little bit smarter than the average idiot. I mean, there are always reasons for not explaining because you don't have the time, you don't feel they're important enough to give a full explanation, this, that, and the other. But I'm saying if you are incapable of explaining why you've made that decision, then you are not as smart as you think you are. Yeah, a new documentary is coming up. It's going to be on Netflix about Lady Gaga, and there's a lot of things, in particular her view on the world that I do not agree with at all. But I am interested in seeing what they actually are doing to her because I was starting to hear that she's having like injections in the face so that certain muscles do certain things and things like that. I heard vaguely something like that, and those are celebrities you can't help but pity a little bit. That really their inner circle, they could turn into a pack of pygmy cannibals at any time, really. And ideally, we should live in a society where the people in power aren't going to get taken down by some pygmies, um, even if they are assholes. Uh, it's not the point. Um, yeah, god dang man, it's just such a complicated world, and I'm sick of people saying, "Do your research, do your research." No, I'm not going to be told how to think unless it's pretty damn persuasive. And writing on the internet ain't persuasive to me. I don't consider that evidence, um, despite what some people believe. Um, but yeah, this main video was going to be about Selena Gomez and this apparent stalker that was there with gifts and things like that. Um, I think he was a plant. I think Selena Gomez knows he was a plant. Um, I don't even know if it was a man. It could have been a woman, but I'm just assuming it's a man. Um, but it's part of the game, I suppose. Like there are people, so many people who are just not interested in this subject, and I don't blame them because it's a lot of creepiness that goes with it, and you go, well, I don't care. This just looks weird to me, and I'm not interested. Fair enough, but to be honest with you, if there are people who are running around acting like lunatics, I would like to know why and what exactly can they do. Um, that's part of having a better understanding of the world is having to take a look at things you don't really want to look at. Um, yeah, well, this has been a fairly lengthy video. Not as long as some of the other ones I made. It's funny that last video I made about the dream I had. It was an hour long, and like I totally don't remember what I said in it. All I remember is some vague notion about ancestral heritage and things like that. How I was able to talk about it for an hour, I don't remember. To be honest with you, funny when you think about it. But whatever. I felt it was good enough to be published at the time, so I don't care. Uh, Not a big deal at all. Oh, it's just like now I'm getting to think of other things that celebrities have got to deal with. Like they can never go to just any old party or anything like that and not be concerned of anything from there's a video camera in the washroom or some asshole's gone. Well, we'll just put a little bit of LSD in their drink, make them have a good time. That's happened plenty of times to people like Ozzy Osbourne, for example. There's a reason he talks like the way he does. It's because he always had some fucking asshole around him going, "Oh, I'll help him out," and no, you caused him brain damage. Yeah. So there's all that. I would like to think that most of that got cleared up, but you look at somebody like Lady Gaga, and I'm sure that that she's had a few bad nights, and it's just a whole other dimension, especially when you listen to the whiny problems of people today, and you go, I actually do feel sympathetic to that problem that they probably did experience. Like, for example, what if they put you on some hallucinogen or something like that, and when you're going on a bunch of roller coasters, and these people physically make you do it, that would be ultimately terrifying, especially for someone like me who's just like all I do is drink alcohol. Okay, that's all I like to do. Nothing wrong with alcohol, although it made me a little bit fat, but that's okay. But there are other things too, like there's this one song from Broods, that's right, called "I'm Free." Basically, it's this blonde woman. She's not bad looking from certain angles, I suppose. Anyway, there's this one segment in the music video where she's in a small kind of water tank, and you see a quick clip of I guess an alligator or something like that snapping. And then there's another scene where she's in the sand. Of course, she's got like a video audio thing attached to her head, right? Anyway, she's going through the sand, and the snake is coming at her. And you may go, well, if somebody put video thing on your head, it's not gonna have the psychological effect, as it won't be real. Supposing you're out of your gorg and they put that on your head and you don't know, then all of a sudden it's a whole other realm of fucking terrifying. And getting back to the vicious things people say about celebrities, in particular Asia, when they're drawing their little fucking cartoons about them. They'll say fucking anything, and that's just to take a stab at Western culture. And the thing is, us common folk, we're not accustomed to looking at that sort of stuff. We're not used to it, and we shouldn't be either. But supposing the internet got hijacked by whomever who would do things like that, all of a sudden, a society of rational, sane people all lose their shit when they wake up and they realize, look behind closed doors, there literally is psychotic clowns, and they're not Donald Trump. Donald Trump would perfectly decent in my book. He's usually got a joke um, or two, and he does what he can. A lot of people say he doesn't work very hard. I mean, I guess he could do some more exercise, I suppose, but I'm not going to say he doesn't work hard. That's just not true. In whatever way he does it, he works hard, as do all uh, important public figures. In one way or another, they're working hard. Um, um, you may go like, well, some of them, just they don't seem to do anything, and they become uh, inward and don't directly do anything to help people. But like, I'll use Sinead O'Connor for example. In the place that she is right now, not very nice for her, but she said she was going through some physical pain. I can't remember what exactly. She's got no friends, whatever, this, that, and the other. For some people, that is benefit. Unfortunately, as sick and twisted as to say, um, to what extent I have no idea, and for what reasons, couldn't even begin to imagine. Just using that as an example. So therefore, even though Sinead O'Connor is not doing anything, she still is contributing to society. And it's probably got something to do with her earlier life in the early 90s and things like that, and her political stances and the money she made, and I guess whatever decisions she made, and the repercussions of all that, because that's the other thing. People don't forget. I've made that clear in other videos when I've talked about when people have done wrong things. You go, well, you said something or you did something. Media doesn't talk about it. Common folk, they forget. They get, busy with their lives. The next week, usually, or even shorter amount of time than that, they've forgotten. Well, there are people out there who don't forget. And not only do they not forget, it may not have impacted them in any negative fashion, but they may use it as a tool to go after them later for money or whatever. And, you're dealing with people who just go around stabbing people in the back. And, is it really the way it should be? Like, couldn't we just clean house and really get rid of those despicable people? I'm sure it's happened a few times. I bet it wasn't too long ago, there were so many people who were just like so wrong about everything they did that they literally were the Emperor from Star Wars, where they got thrown into the shaft. Not that it deserved it too, but yeah, that's a whole other story there. But I'll let Star Wars Theory, the YouTube channel, explain stuff like that. Just trying to think of other things right here now to talk about on this particular subject. Damn it. I had an idea and I wanted to say it, but what was it? Just give me a couple seconds here, I'll think of it. Well, yeah. As soon as you become an important person, you always got to look over your shoulder. It may seem as though you've done everything right, and who could possibly be mad but you? But people might be mad at you because it's an opportunity for them to make money. Not because they have anything personal against you, but it just might be convenient for them. That's all. Anyway, I've talked about 45 minutes on a 2-minute video from Clever News. So I think I've contributed to the internet community. And, you know, despite having a vague notion of, how odd the world really is, um, I will still sleep easy tonight. So, anyway, I think I'm gonna go on cooldown mode, have a beer from the Oxhorn, a little bit of cider, probably watching Transformers, and yeah, call it a night. Um, yeah, anyway, talk to you guys later. See ya.